Welcome to this episode of Sunny Silver Linings. Sunny's guest today is ITBD's very own Todd Billiar, Director of Channel Partnerships. Todd has spent over 20 years in the MSP industry, and the past 4 years with IT by Design. Todd has gained a vast amount of knowledge in his time working in the MSP world and works hard to give that knowledge back to those willing to learn. As him and Sunny like to say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And now, your host, the founder and CEO of IT by Design, Mr. Sunny Kela. Over to you, Sunny.
Hi, Todd. Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate it.
Absolutely, Sunny. Happy to be here. You know, my repeat appearance here on the podcast. Super excited.
Yeah, and I know how passionate you are when it comes to overall talent talk. And so that I'm very excited about our talk today because that's one of my passion as well. And it's always so much fun to talk talent with Todd. And when it comes to the world that we are living in today, Todd, with this whole COVID situation, work from home, and what we have seen in 2021 with the Great Resignation era and the talent shortage that is happening in the market, and that, so it's a very timely topic, and it is bringing a lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities. And while it's a huge challenge for businesses to find good talent and retain good talent, it's a great opportunity for knowledge workers, for professionals, and especially when it comes to the technology sector, it's a huge opportunity for people. And when you have a lot more opportunities, and I was reading, it depends which research you are looking at, for every single person looking for a job, especially the IT professional, there are at least 10 jobs available for every candidate out there. And when that is the marketplace, then you have a lot more freedoms as an employee. You have a lot more freedoms in terms of who you want to work for and where do you want to work and who you want to work with. And what that means is that people are going through their selection process in terms of their employer selection process. And so we're going to talk about that today, that what normally is the criteria that people use when they are making a choice, where do they want to work, which employer that they want to work for. So can you talk to us a little bit about what are your thoughts on that overall employer selection process that an employee goes through?
Absolutely. And again, super excited to be here, Sunny, the third time back. And this is probably my most exciting episode because, I am passionate about talent. As you know, I've been in the talent industry here for over 10 years, and I've been in the MSP industry for over, well, I don't know if I want to share that number. I've been here a while. But, it's been fascinating to watch the changes, how the talent industry has developed within the MSP world. As you mentioned, the Great Resignation or the Great Reorganization going on right now. Talent is extremely difficult for employers to find. But on the flip side, from the employee side, opportunities are out there. Like you just mentioned, there's over 10 opportunities available for every employee. So, it really opens up a lot of doors that maybe weren't so open in the past. But from the employer standpoint, how do employers, counter that and keep the great employees? Or if they are in that growth mode, which many are here in the technology sector, how do you attract and retain, how do you attract and recruit those employees who are out there looking? One of the things I've always looked for as I've come up, from when I got out of the Navy way back in 1994 and I came into this industry, a couple of things I've always looked for were I wanted to go to work for an organization where I was more than just a number. And it's probably more powerful today as people are, we're moving more and more apps move to the cloud. You don't have all those layers. You don't want to be micromanaged. You want to be able to have the freedom to innovate. people have great ideas. They want to be able to contribute to an organization. And that's something I've always looked for as I've moved up. I came out of the Navy. I started in technology. I was a field engineer way back in Novell days. Some of you younger listeners may have to go out and Google the word Novell, but it was a networking platform. I started in sales, and then I was mentored, and I started in technology, and then I moved over into like a project management and roles and customer relationship, and that's where I found the people skills. I was good at technology, but I really enjoyed working with people and having that ability to change my career. That it's really attracted me and kept me at a lot of really great employers. So. The opportunities are boundless out there. If you are in this space and you're especially in technology, man, what a great time to go out and be in the space. So I guess the long worded way is, I agree. Everything you've said there, the great reorganization, great resignation is a real thing, but it's very good for the employees today.
Yeah. And so what I heard you say, Todd, is it's more like that sense of belongingness, right? That you're more than a number. And the way I see it is that, so for example, when we look at IT by design, you see that every single day I beat that drum of community building. And the way we look at business and the way we look at overall, our work family, that is the ITBD community, ITBD family, and there is that belongingness. That is the purpose, that everyone working here at IT by Design, they feel that they are part of a community, that they are part of a family, and it's bigger than they're part of something bigger than just a paycheck. And as a result of them working here and being part of that community, that we safeguard them, we protect them, and we look at that overall life, life plan, rather than just one aspect of life, which is paycheck or career, and it's career development to more than that, with the wellness programs and everything else, it's a 360 view of how can you make an impact on another human being, a community member. And that is what I heard you say when you talk about belongingness. Is that what you meant?
Absolutely. I view IT by Design here as my family. You took me to India. What a fantastic trip that was. And, I got to meet my extended family. Teammates like Alokik and Gaurav. I talk to them every day. They're, in another country. They're on another continent. And I feel like they're, like my brothers. I trust them. We work well together. In fact, we work fantastic together. It's that belonging and it's that sense of family. It's something I definitely value in the people, as you said, the people I choose to work with, and who. There's got to be that feeling.
Yeah, and one thing that I just realized is, so Todd, that's called experience, right? So your India trip with the partners and leaders, when we do that, so part of it is just going out there and meeting our work family there in India, and but it's about creating that experience for our US team members, because a lot of people have never seen India and a lot of people wanted to. And in this case, that we take them and create experiences for them from the overall culture, history, that they just kind of feel good about the trip. And the byproduct of that experience is that they get to know people, they get to know that overall world view, world perspective. So it's a life-changing trip. Normally, that's what I normally hear. And why it is so important right now, Todd, in this remote workplace, is that the workplace that we're talking about doesn't have borders anymore. And a professional sitting in the US with global exposure, global experience, where now it's a level playing field for workers sitting here or sitting somewhere else. A lot of businesses here in the US, they are a lot more open to bring in workers from all over the place. And when you have an experience with another country, another culture, you are a much more powerful, impactful leader because you have led a global team, you know the culture, and you know how to lead multicultural teams. Then that's what a business is looking for today, because in this remote world now, almost every business have very diverse, very multicultural teams, and in order to lead them well, or in order to be a good team member for those teams, you got to be having that experience, right? So one thing that I just realized is how our team members here and team members there, as a result of these trips or this belongingness that we talked about, it makes them better professionals. It makes them more impactful professionals. It makes them a lot more valuable, because that is the need of the hour when companies are looking for talent.
Absolutely. I completely agree. A lot of companies talk about culture, but if you think about it, when you have an international employee base, culture is a little different. And it's one thing to read about it and hear about it, but when you go there and you actually experience it and you learn, and there's no better way to really build those bonds than to go experience that. And I completely agree. Especially with everything up in the cloud, there are no boundaries. The modern workspace is planet Earth today.
It's a virtual workplace right now, right? So for majority of the companies. But one thing that we have to do now, Todd, is that so looking at things from this perspective now, that our new work family in Philippines, I think we both have to take a trip to learn that culture, because as you said, if culture is a feeling, right? So a lot of people define culture at the end of the day is a feeling, and that feeling comes from different, like culturally, there is that little bit of change in terms of, for example, a Philippines employee, they're a lot more family focused. They're a lot more, their cultural sensitivity needs are different, right? So looking at international teams, global teams, sitting in different countries, like for us it's Philippines and it's India. India, we knew it well with the Philippines, now learning that culture. So we know that if there's, in order to drive that outcome of culture, which is feeling, we need to make sure that where that feeling is, what that feeling is connected to. And it does vary, like even in India, even though both countries are in Asia, but still there is that little bit of variance in terms of cultures. And I have been learning a lot from last year or so since we opened our Philippines office. And I do see that because I was born in India, so with India I was well versed with that culture, well versed in the U.S. and India culture. But now from last year or so, learning about Philippines culture is fun. But we have to take a trip there to learn.
I'm in, buddy. Suitcase is right over there. I'm ready.
Okay, that sounds good. So,
and I think people watch. Hold on. So I think people should know, who watch this, that, when we talk a lot about culture, is that feeling and family and such, it's more than talk here. One of the things I'm really proud of, if we go back to early 2020, as the pandemic started, one of the first things you did is you started our Monday morning coffee with community. And the first thing we asked people on that call was, is everybody okay? And is there anything we can do? That shows to the employee base. And it showed to me. It showed how caring the organization is about their employee base. That it wasn't just about, hey, to get your work done. It's, what can I do? Are you safe? What problems can I help you solve? Or, challenges can I help you solve? That speaks volumes. And not a lot of organizations are like that. We didn't lay people off. We actually went above and beyond, and we were helping to make sure our employee base felt safe, their families were safe. And as we went through, we kept that going. And when the immunization started, we put the drives in the offices and such. That to me speaks volumes about how this company really, truly, there's that sense of belonging, as you said, that sense of family, that feeling. That speaks volumes to me.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and thank you. Yeah, so one thing that I'm just coming back from India from our annual retreat and kickoff with our leaders and managers there, and one thing that they pointed out there, the same thing, Todd, that Sunny, when you started that coffee with the community, it helped us a lot mentally and overall. That sense of security, that feeling that there is someone who is going to protect us. And they gave me an example, Todd, which was, if you remember, in one of those coffee with community morning, like 15-minute things that we were doing, meeting all sites. And that's Sunny, when you shared your connections of police officers in both locations, Chandigarh and Noida, and you put it on that slide and shared that if anyone have any kind of issue on the street, getting groceries, other things, there were a lot of things going on in India where people were having hard time to go to the grocery stores unless you know someone. Unless so there was a lot of it was not organized like here in the U.S. And they said, Sunny, when you shared that, your connections, your political connections, your police, chief of police in Chandigarh, and not only that you shared with the HR manager, you did ask us to call HR manager first before calling them, but we also had direct access to your connections in case we needed them. And that
Right.
gives me a sense of really security that, Sunny is with us and he's sharing his network, his connections to keep us safe. And that was one thing that guy got up and he said, I want to say thank you to you. And to your point, I think it's just natural for us because we do care, really, really deeply care about our team members, our people, because of our purpose. If you see in our VTO and our vision traction tool, our purpose is to build happy, healthy community at work, right? We're not talking about profits. We're not talking about other things. Profits are important to keep this community safe and secure from the financial point of view. That is a sustainable thing that anyone who is associated with us, they have stability. So that is important, but purpose and then profit. And
Yeah.
purpose is to build that happy and healthy community. It just comes naturally. And I appreciate you recognizing it and thank you. Now let's go into a little bit more on the what a professional wants in terms of their career, right? So one way to look at this is that when they're making that choice, everyone is looking for growth. They're looking for freedoms, right? When you talk about freedoms, freedom of money, right? So that they create a bigger freedom in terms of their financials, freedom of relationships, that people that they will work with and people that they will work for, their manager, their team member. So freedom of relationships, and then freedom of overall purpose, that they get meaningful work, right? And whatever work is based on the passion and their abilities. And those are the key freedoms that people are looking for when they are making choices. So let's go to the first one, which is freedom of money. So how important you think it is? So culture is important. We talked about it. But
Right.
then, so when people are looking at the relationships, the money, and the purpose piece, how do you see that? And what is the importance that a typical person is giving? I know everyone is different, but what a typical professional goes through when they're going through these freedom choices?
Right. Well, obviously, with the great reorganization, great resignation, money is a driving factor. We can't fool ourselves. And we're seeing salaries go up across the board globally. And it gives you that better, quality of life, that level of living, providing for their families. Has, an engineer starts, it's just them, but, as they stay with an organization or as they develop, they get married, they have a family, obviously, greater financial demand. So they want to be fairly compensated so they can provide for their family and have that sense of belonging at home, right? So I think money is absolutely important. But on the flip side of that, it isn't just about paying someone, because who wants to stay in a toxic environment just because it pays well? It's got to be, you got to enjoy what you do. You have to enjoy who you work with and who for. So, it comes down to recognition and appreciation and professional development. Do you want to continue to down the technical path and continue to build those technical certs, or do you want to go down management? Do they have a leadership development program to help you go down that path? As I said early on in my career, I made a pivot. I left the technical path and I went a different way. And my employer supported that and helped me train and assigned a mentor to me. So it's important that the workspace that, the employer provides that and also is well aware of it, that it isn't just, you can't buy loyalty. There's more to it because people will leave, especially today.
Yeah, no, that absolutely. And so when you look at anyone's choice, like it's basically they're seeking bigger future, right? They want to see that year from now, they will have a bigger future than today. And when they measure their success in reference to the last year, they see the progress. They see they were here and now they are here. Their paycheck was here, now their paycheck is here. It is important, right? As we see that. And the second is they were doing, so their designation, their title, their overall role was here, now it is here. If they were L1 engineer, now they're L2 engineers, right? So that's the career progression, the career growth that they see, and they want to see. And of course, other things from the environment, is it psychologically safe? Can they make a mistake and learn from it? And their manager is not going to penalize them. Those things, right? So that they become a little bit more risk takers because they are given the permission to fail and then do well. So those type of things that roll up to the culture side and what kind of environment you're creating. And like what we do here, Todd, is either you're going to be learning or you're going to be winning. You're never losing. If you're working with Sunny, you're going to be either learning or you're winning. There is no loser in my team. And we will work with each other to apply those learnings so that our future state is better, that we don't repeat those mistakes. But those things are important for any company to create in terms of creating that right culture to attract talent and retain talent. So the career development plan we discussed for leaders is more leadership development, but it comes down to, again, learning, which rolls up to the growth of the person, right? It rolls up to the growth of that individual, that self-development. And it in terms of check growth, in terms of their designation growth, and then in terms of their individual growth. So I think it really comes down to that.
Right. And all those different growths contribute to the company's growth. So it's a win-win. It's great for the employee because they're learning new skills. They're making a little bit more money to provide for the family. But it's also great for the employer because that employee brings more value.
Absolutely.
To the organization. And I think it's important to note that when we talk about these career development plans, it isn't just all focused around traditional work. Like, as I was building mine out for 2022, after I spoke with you, I want to learn how to be a better stage presenter. I want to learn how to be a better public speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not something people traditionally think of from a professional development, but it's something that I'm excited and I'm energetic about. And then obviously it's going to provide value back to IT by Design. So, it's having that open mind. And, I like the fact that you said nobody loses. I always like to tell people FAIL stands for first attempt at learning. You're never failing. You're just learning.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, so at the end of the day, I think it really comes down to those basics that if you create those freedoms for people, your people that are high performing people that you want to keep, people that you want to retain, people that you want, team members, where you want them to take action, they will stay with you and they will take that action. And their action aligned with the company strategy and goal will also grow the company, grow the team. But you got to be really looking at things from the human perspective, that how can you unleash that human potential and align that human potential with the organizational potential, because that alignment together is the potential that is going to raise everyone, and everyone can win in a company. And one thing that I want to leave as a last comment, Todd, is what I really look, what personally I do is, over years, what I have learned, if you can help someone uncover their passion or discover their passion, right? Because sometimes what I've seen is a lot of people, they struggle there. 80-90% of people, where they have hard time understanding what are they really passionate about, what energizes them, and giving purpose to their work. Because it is all in, but sometimes it takes the right questions to be asked to help them understand their purpose and their passions, and getting that purpose and passion alignment based on their unique abilities with the organization's goals. I think then micromanagement goes away. Then the person gets energized to come to Monday morning, just like, because it's purpose, it's passion, and they are really working. Where Monday mornings don't suck anymore, because the purpose and passion brings them to Monday morning with so much excitement and everything. So what I have realized is, yes, paycheck matters. Everything else that we talked about matter. But one thing, if what helped me, especially in the last year or two, when I started discovering this and I see how impactful it is, that if leaders can help their team members get access to their purpose by asking them right questions, and then help them discover their unique abilities and passions and get that alignment, role alignment with that, they will never have to manage that person. That person will produce that business outcome that a leader is expecting. And thank you so much, Todd. I appreciate your wisdom, your insights, and sharing your experiences with me and our audience. And I appreciate you.
Thank you, Sonny. Appreciate you having me on, and let me talk about things I'm passionate about. And thank you, sir.
So this is now, when you said 10 years in talent, or more than 10 years, I'm like, a lot of T's with Todd. When it comes to talent, it's like you're born for this. So 10 years, Todd and talent. So talent talk. So a lot of T's together. Thank you so much. I always appreciate you, Todd, and have a great day.
Thanks, Sonny.